It's Hong Kong's most eastern peninsula, with a climb that's not for the faint-hearted. Desolate beaches, abandoned villages, and a feeling of complete isolation, all guaranteed. This is Drone with a Phone, and today we're taking on Shark Peak.
Welcome to the third episode of Drone and Phone. Today we're going to try to walk up Shark's Peak. Now, of the walks that we have done so far, this is definitely the most challenging and the most remote. We've been driving for about an hour and a half to get here. We had to get off the car in one place, take another car because we weren't allowed entrance. There's cows walking along the street. There's all sorts of things that make you feel like you're really isolated in a rural area. The last 20 minutes driving along just a single track in order to get here. Again, I'm along with Alang, my good friend from Beijing, the hiker, who is here to talk to the mainland Chinese audience about Hong Kong's most beautiful places. So we're about to start. It's going to be a long day, probably one of the hardest days that we're going to have in these first 5 episodes, but I'm really looking forward to it.
Once you arrive at the Sai Wan Pavilion at the end of the Chek Keng Sai Wan Road, follow the concrete path on a pleasant 1-hour stroll past sand dunes and inlets of the Sai Wan Bay. The path spills onto a small beach at Tung Long, where you can buy refreshments before continuing across a river and up to a viewpoint over the 3 beaches of Taiwan Bay.
Well, so far we've walked about an hour or so over some beaches, about an hour to the beach, or 45 minutes, and then across the beach and then up and over a peninsula. Now you can see behind me this peak here. This is where we're going. This is what we're going to try and conquer today. Apparently it's a really hard steep climb up, but not too high, so let's hope it's going to be good enough. And you can see behind me this absolutely beautiful view of untouched beaches that you won't find many people on.
From the beach, there are several paths on the map that will take you up to Shark Peak. We cut inland along the Mackelhose Trail. In hindsight, we should have continued along the trail till we met Shark Peak Path, but instead opted for a shortcut.
Well, we've just been off track a little bit and ended up having to cut through some bush and go completely into the jungle without any machetes or anything. But I think we found the road again. We were supposed to be on the trail that was on the map. We were on the trail, but it just kind of petered out and then got very difficult to follow. But hopefully we're back on track again now.
The next section is not for the faint-hearted. So tough, in fact, that a sign warns you for safety reasons you advise not to proceed. The climb is steep, and at times you have to scramble on hands and knees. It took us 2 hours to reach the top after refinding the path. 2 hours of constant climbing.
Well, that was a lot harder than I expected. It's been quite a climb. We made the mistake of cutting through the jungle on the first half of the climb, and that really saps all of your energy trying to push through the jungle in places really thick where you have to struggle through, get on your hands and knees, drop your bag and off you go. But it's been worth it. I think the view up here is absolutely fantastic. It's a hard day, as you can see. I thought last week was hard, but this was definitely quite a bit harder. So we're going to just enjoy the view, have our lunch, and then we'll make our way back down the beach, hopefully to pick up a ferry on the way back.
From the top, there are a number of options for the descent. We opted to try and make the Chek Keng ferry, which takes you to the road at Wong Shek. If you miss the ferry, there's a path that takes you to the Pak Tam road, where you'll find buses to take you to the main transportation hub at Sai Keng.
Well, my intention for this episode was to shoot a beautiful shot of a ferry going off into the distance with me on it on the way back to home.
but it's taken me a bit longer than I thought. I've been getting really bad cramps, and so I'm suffering a little bit. I've only got about 2 kilometers to go, so I should be there in an hour or so. But I'm going to sign off for this episode. It's been quite a challenge for me, particularly, hacking through that jungle and then having to climb the ascent, the sharp ascent for Sharps Peak after that. That was difficult. In the next episode, we'll be going around Llama Island, hopefully a lot more leisurely than this one. If you like the series, please subscribe to our YouTube channel or like us on Facebook. That way you never get to miss an episode. Till then, I hope you have a chance to do this walk, and I hope you're a little fitter than I am.